I don't remember what was said when I caught you two in bed. But now I sit here drinking shit beer, chasing Johnny Walker Red.
Hi, welcome to the first episode of Clown Interrupted. I'm KiKi Maroon. This is a new project and it's going to change, it's going to grow, and I have to be honest, I don't know exactly what it is yet. Here's the bullet points. I'm a stand-up comic, burlesque, clown, and special events producer. I stopped drinking around 3 years ago, and I say around because I don't have an exact date. I tried to quit so many times before, I just kind of assumed it would all fall apart again, and I didn't bother marking the date. But I know-ish it was about 3 years. I live and work in three scenes, the comedy, the burlesque thing, and the special events, all of which revolve around drinking, which made me unaware that not drinking was even an option. So I lived in a blackout like you do. I've got a lot of stories, some of which I even remember. The most traumatic being flipping a truck in the ditch, almost dying, spending the night in jail, then losing my job, house, fiancé, and freedom. So even though that was years ago, I'm still trying to piece together, what the fuck? Clear-headed for the first time in my life, I'm now asking, how did I become a stripping clown with a breathalyzer? That was not the plan. That was officially never the plan. So this podcast is twofold. One, to figure out my story and how to tell it, because I still don't really understand it. And two, to talk to other comedians, writers, dancers, musicians, and people who live in, quote, party scenes who don't drink. And just share their stories too. Because let's face it, even if you're not a stripping clown, rock bottom stories are usually great. There's nobody more perfect for me to talk to on the first episode than Andy Huggins. Andy is a legendary stand-up comic based out of Houston, Texas. He was a member of the Texas Outlaw Comics in the 80s. It was like him, Sam Kinison, Bill Hicks, Ron Schock. You know, people who could fucking drink. But besides being an amazing comic, he's also the first sober person I ever met. And the only one that I knew for years. So even though we were just acquaintances at first, he was the one that got all of the questions about like, hey, what's this not drinking thing you're doing? What's that all about? Unrelated, he was on America's Got Talent the week before we recorded this. So the first bit is about that. We talk about that, him going to AA meetings with Bill Hicks, which is crazy, getting too drunk to hang out with Ray Charles, and weird dreams about drinking. We recorded this in a restaurant, so please excuse the iced tea sounds. I hope you like it. Here's me and Andy.
And when tomorrow comes around, I may be 6 feet underground, but I'll still have one more for now.
There's one right at the end after I do my last joke and they cut to the judges table and you see three of them and Heidi is smiling and Howie is laughing and applauding. Mm-hmm. And Mel B had a genuinely puzzled look on her face. So I don't...
Like how you got through.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking that she probably didn't get some of the jokes and they just played it up.
Yeah,
okay. That makes sense. Played it up a bit just to add a little bit of whatever to it.
Yeah.
But as you know, as I'm sure we've talked about before, I love rooms like Rudyard's. Those small, intimate, those are my favorite rooms. But I was thinking, 3,000 people every once in a while, that wouldn't be bad. Every once in a while, 3,000 people, that's not too...
I'm starting to love those rooms. Yeah. I understand the idea that it's, you know, the intimacy that you're connecting with people because I started in the burlesque shows where everything was really big and grand and over the top. I got used to, even when hosting and stuff, just being that, like, more of a character.
Yeah.
I was really animated. And so when I would then go to tiny rooms when I was first starting and hitting open mics, the looks, like, just the eyes of what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah.
Like, were terrifying to me because that's the only way I knew how to be on a mic.
Yeah.
Was to be really loud and, oh my God, you guys are ready for this?
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary to them. I get it.
Yeah. It may be easier to go from a small to big than it is to go from big to small.
It took me probably a year and a half at least. And I remember our friend Barry used to always tell me, can you just talk like you?
Yeah.
KiKi is interesting. And I'm like, I am talking like me. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it was very difficult for me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that kind of bad habit picked up at bar gigs that are real noisy.
The aggressiveness, maybe?
I remember telling a comic one time, we were in a nice room, and he was opening an MC, and I told him, look, this is not a bar gig.
You don't have to yell at them.
You don't have to be so aggressive in your delivery.
Yeah.
So, you got to...
different venues.
Different venues require different approaches,
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm learning now. Especially, I've been doing more storytelling, which I love. I love it so much, and so that is a little bit easier because it's like for me. Because I'm not afraid of the pauses. I'm not afraid of the silence.
Yeah.
Versus previously, I'm thinking, well, you're supposed to get laugh.
Yeah.
The storytelling, they're a lot more lenient because they want to hear the thing.
It's a different rhythm and
different art.
Different expectations. And,
and the more I've done that, then when I move to smaller rooms, I'm able to carry that kind of that attitude and that pacing with me, and so it's really helped me just get to, like you said, connect with people differently.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. In your burlesque show, like the one you did this past Saturday,
Comic strip, yes.
Yeah, did you do any stand-up?
I did. I opened.
Oh, very good.
Let me tell you, this is the first time I walked off stage from the big shows that I've done. Usually when I've done stand-up afterwards, I'm like, oh, I didn't hit this, I didn't hit that. You know how we do. I walked off stage and I was just like, that was good.
Good.
It felt really good.
Good.
And so, I watched the video actually just yesterday that they sent, and I didn't hate it, which is a huge step for me.
And I fought it for a long time. I still don't video because I don't have a video, but recording yourself, and I mean, you got to treat it like there's certain aspects of what we do is a job.
Yeah.
And you got to study.
But it hurts, Andy.
Oh,
it hurts to watch.
I know very few people that like listening or watching themselves perform.
Oh God, it hurts so much. But this one, I was okay with. The only thing that sucks is, and we got video for all the comics because my audience, they're
the best. They are
fantastic.
Yeah, they're the best.
And so I was like, look, we're gonna get video for all you guys. That way you have this because you need it for whatever festival submissions things. And I'm kind of jealous because it was a themed show. I was wearing a costume. I'm in a big puffy purple with the crown and the whole thing, which I love. It was fantastic. But everybody, all the other comics, they came out in what they wear.
Yeah.
I love my video. I can't submit that to shit. I can't be like, no, I won't be dressed as a princess.
Yeah. There might be an aspect of, and maybe if one day you meet somebody, you personally know somebody that's running a festival, and so they can take that into account when they watch your.
You might just picture this with jeans.
You ought to be sophisticated enough as a festival
CGI,
booker.
Put some clothes on me.
Yeah.
So I will say I was pretty excited. So the podcast is coming out, right?
Very good.
This is the first show I've done that I do not have a beer or liquor sponsor.
Oh,
which
okay.
is part of what is terrifying about this to me.
Yeah.
I have not done that. That's money that I normally, I'm like, I need that money to pay people. But I feel like it would be kind of weird to try to start a podcast and talk about, sobriety and not drinking and stuff. And then on the side also be like, but so-and-so is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so
there's sponsors. There's all kinds of sponsors.
If you can point them to me, I would appreciate that, Andy. Yeah, it's part of a transition that I'm excited about, but I'm a little bit afraid of.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
We'll see. Speaking of transitions, how long ago did you quit drinking?
30 years ago, this past April. I quit drinking April of 88.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my God, that's
long time without
a
damn drink.
Time. Yeah, that's a really long time.
Yeah.
So were you already doing comedy when you quit drinking?
Yeah. I started doing comedy in 77.
Okay.
And quit drinking in 88.
Oh, so you went a while.
Yeah. When I first went out to Los Angeles in 77, I knew I had a drinking problem. And so I told myself, you can't drink. And so for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, I stuck to that. I didn't drink, but you're in clubs and you're hanging out and
every night.
And eventually I just drifted back into the drinking.
Yeah, that's a long time though. So when you quit, then was it really like I said? Right now, I'm like, oh God, is this going to be different? Is it going to be weird for the shows? Was it? Did you feel different doing comedy afterwards?
Yeah, not really, but I do know two great friends, Bill Hicks and Jimmy Pineapple, both felt different on stage.
Yeah,
sober. I didn't. I felt a little different off stage. I mean, that was such a part of my identity.
Yeah.
That I kind of felt like I was invisible for a while or something. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But I don't recall.
I'm so jealous of that because I had that. I still remember the first time I went on stage sober, and it was because I was legally mandated to. I had a breathalyzer I had to carry around with me.
Yeah.
That was not very fun.
Yeah.
It was like a briefcase that they gave me while I was on probation.
Yeah.
And so it was a briefcase. I had to blow into it every, I think, 2.5 or 3 hours.
Yikes.
To make sure that I wasn't drinking. Yeah.
That's a drag. How long did you have to do?
Well, here's the thing about that.
Yeah.
So the reason that they gave me the briefcase was because when I had my car accident, flipped the truck in the ditch, went through probation, did all that stuff, I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
So normally what they'll do is put a breathalyzer in your car so you can't drink and drive.
Right.
If you do not have a car, they don't want you driving other people's cars.
Yeah.
So they give you, it's a briefcase that you carry around with a giant heavy machine in it.
Jesus.
That you have to blow into all day. You wake up in the middle of the night to do it. And if you miss a blow, it alerts your probation officer, and it'll put out a thing, and you can go to jail. It's a whole process.
I mean, so like if it goes off at 4 a.m, the probation officer doesn't go, oh, for Christ's sake.
You wake up. I mean, but when are you drinking? 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really intense, and the anxiety. Well, here's the thing. What I told myself was that the anxiety of being afraid I would miss something was so terrifying because it was like this giant thing on my shoulders all the time that I was going to go to jail if I did something wrong. So I somehow find money for like a $500 piece of shit car from like a used lot. They put the car breathalyzer there so then I can return the suitcase, park the car in my yard, never drive it, never have to blow. Guess what? I'm shit-faced all over again, so it's fine because I don't have to blow.
Yeah.
So, I told myself it was the anxiety, but really I just wanted to keep drinking.
Yeah.
And I found a way to keep drinking.
Yeah.
But when I had the suitcase, I was still trying to perform.
Yeah.
And so I had to go on stage, and we even had to time my part in the set list because I was like, I'm so sorry, this is very embarrassing. I have to blow while where you have me. Can you please move me?
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Nice.
But yeah, I went on stage sober, and I remember I was terrified. I was shaking. I hated every minute of it. And the second I got done, I was like, this is the worst thing. How does anybody go on stage sober?
I bet most comics that quit drinking while they're in the midst of their career, I bet more of them are like you than me. I bet most. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they're alcoholic, then I bet, my memory is I didn't have that problem, but I bet most do.
Yeah.
I know, like I say, Jimmy and Bill did. You did.
Yeah. Basically, we're the same.
Yeah. I don't.
Well, do you remember how long were Jimmy and Bill doing comedy at that time? Because you were performing so much longer than me, so you were just more professional by the time you quit.
Well, Jimmy began performing 76, 77. He quit drinking in 93.
Oh.
So he had the same amount of experience I did.
Okay,
but so much of Jimmy's act revolved around being on stage with a Jack Daniels and talking about, a certain lifestyle that he had.
Yeah.
Bill quit drinking in 88, started performing when he was 16, which means about 77 also.
Yeah, but he didn't drink at first, right? I feel like so you're in the documentary.
Yeah.
With it. What's it called? American?
Yeah,
so you were in that, and I watched that, and they were saying that he didn't drink at the beginning at all.
No, he didn't. I think he started drinking about 83. Okay. I think he drank for about 5 years, crammed about 20 years of drinking and into 5 years. And so what's that? He went, if my math is correct, he went about 6 years performing sober, then started drinking, got and drank for about 5 years and got sober, and the last 6 years were sober.
Yeah, it's intense. Did you tell me that you went to an AA meeting? Was it the first AA meeting or? that Bill took you to an AA meeting, or was it vice versa?
Bill and I, when I quit drinking in '88, Bill had quit in February of '88. I quit in April, and we started going to meetings in downtown Houston together. He didn't take me to my first one.
Okay.
That was another friend. But we were still both living in the Houston house.
Okay.
In downtown, and we'd walk to a meeting. There was one in particular we'd go to. So, yeah.
So what caused you? What made you decide to quit drinking? Was it just being around other friends? Did you?
You know, I had just got back from a couple of weeks on the road. Had some money, not a lot, but I had some money. We got back into town, me and the comic I was working with. Got back into town Sunday morning. We must have left wherever we were late Saturday. But at any rate, started drinking during the day and woke up the next morning, Monday morning, had like $20 after 2 weeks on the road. And I just woke up and the big book in AA uses the phrase bankrupt to refer to, a certain emotional. And I had nothing left. I was tired of not knowing what happened the night before. I was tired of calling people up and trying to figure out what happened the night before. I was tired of feeling physically like I was. And not too long before that, I remember at the Houston house, and I'm going out, and I didn't want to drink, but I knew I was going to.
Yeah.
And this is like I got a job I hate. It's what drinking became. And, and for whatever odd reason, I assumed that I was going to be drinking the rest of my life. And at one point, I acknowledged to myself, okay, you're a drunk. You're just going to have to figure out a way to work around it.
Yeah.
I mean, I never kidded myself that I didn't have a problem. But yeah, for a reason, that one morning I had nothing left. I was empty. So went to a meeting that day, and it immediately felt like the right road.
Where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, it just immediately felt, and I was relieved, and that was Yeah, I just woke up one morning. Can't do this bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
It's just exhausting.
Yeah, I didn't know, even after the accident, especially after the accident, I didn't think I had a problem at all. I was just like, no, people, the law just doesn't understand me.
Yeah.
But I do remember waking up just pretty much every morning for a good while, we'll say a year, saying, just being completely exhausted, like completely hungover. My hangovers would last until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening.
I stopped getting hangovers, but I'd be so fucking dehydrated. It's just to where it was a physical. When I quit drinking, both Jack Daniels and Gatorade took just a severe hit financially.
We say Uber took a hit when I quit.
Oh, yeah.
My hangovers got super intense. And I think that, so the more I drank, the stronger my tolerance got. And some of the people I hang out with.
Yeah.
I am 120-pound maybe woman, and I was drinking with 250-pound men and keeping up with them shot for shot for shot for shot. And I have a different metabolism.
Yeah.
And so I would wake up every morning feeling like I was going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm just in pain, and I'm fetal, and I'm like trying to throw up, or I am throwing up.
Oh, the worst.
And it's just, I can't function. Of course, you're foggy, your head is banging, just the whole thing. I feel like I need to go to a hospital. And I just lay there and accept, okay, this will go away in 7 hours.
Yeah.
And then that's when I would say, okay, today I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Just today.
Yeah.
And 2 hours later, I would get a phone call or a text, and I'm like, well, I feel better now.
Yeah.
And so I definitely just didn't think I had a problem for a long time because every day started with, well, today I'll try.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you get to that breaking point where I'm like, I'm exhausted.
As a comic, the hangovers were worse than the being drunk, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Because the hangover, you cannot do shit. You can't write.
No.
That was the biggest. That was one reason at one point in my act, I started doing what they call crowd work. Mm-hmm. We used to call it back in my day, fucking with the crowd. But the more sophisticated generation today, they call it crowd work. Mm-hmm. but that's one reason I started, because I just stopped. I couldn't write anymore. I just didn't have the energy or the focus to write in the morning. So, and I got bored with my act, so I started talking to the crowd more.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like
the
that's
morning.
what a lot of people do, but they're not honest with
Yeah,
themselves
yeah.
that that's what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. You know, to get off, alcohol aside, or drunk or hungover aside for a second, fucking with the crowd's easier than writing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's just easier. And that doesn't mean it can't be quality, doesn't mean it can't be real funny. Doesn't mean it's not a good tool to have. I think it's overrated as a tool, but it's a good tool to have. But it's easier. Audiences grade on a huge curve when they know you're ad-libbing, or when they think you're ad-libbing. A lot of times you're not ad-libbing. You're doing something you ad-libbed,
Every night.
Yeah. But like if you ad-lib an okay line, you're going to get a good laugh. And if you ad-lib a good line, you're going to get a great laugh. And if you ad-lib a great line, you just might want to consider saying goodnight and
Walking off stage.
yeah, because you're not going to top it.
Yeah.
But so writing is more difficult, and I think that's probably why a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
Yeah, that's what got me into comedy. I didn't know I was doing crowd work.
Yeah.
I was hosting the burlesque shows, and in between, we've got to just take up time while we're doing the changeover or picking up the clothes or whatever's going on. And so I would just go out there and just fuck with the audience.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it so much, and like you said, I was getting laughs, so I think I'm hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it took me a while, and I started. So actually, Danny Rios is who invited me to my first open mic. He was going out there to work at Sherlock's, or to do some stuff at Sherlock's, and he was like, "Yeah, we do this thing. A whole bunch of the burlesque girls, y'all might want to go out, and it's just a lot of fun." So I went, and I was like, "This is the best thing in the world."
Yeah.
I had no idea this existed. I'd only seen comedy on TV or anything, so I didn't know there was local comedy.
Yeah.
I didn't know what an open mic was. It was amazing. And so I started going. I would go twice a week because they did the Sunday kind of more of a showcase thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Monday
Yeah.
open mic. I went twice a week, every week for months. And it took me forever. And John Westling used to come up to me and be like, "Hey, kid, when you going up?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go up. I'm just supporting."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're not supporting. You've seen the same fucking comics, say the same jokes
Yeah.
for 6 months.
Yeah.
You want to go up." And I was like, "No, I don't." And it took me a long time to realize I was there because I was scared to go up.
Yeah.
I was watching what they were doing, and I was like, "This is what I do. I could do this.
Yeah.
I could do this." And of course, the first time I went up, I was shit-faced.
Yeah.
And it was just like they had I want to say it was like $2 shots of Jameson.
Yeah.
So I was gone.
Yeah.
And I finally got the nerve to go up there. I don't remember it at all. I know vaguely what story I intended to tell. But I finally went up, and I was like, okay, this is what I've been wanting to do. This is kind of what I'm doing for the burlesque shows.
Yeah. When I first started, I knew I can't be drinking and doing stuff. I knew,
I would
that it was
love
possible.
to have that knowledge.
Yeah, I knew
so
that
many
was a
years
bad.
ago.
Yeah, I knew that was a bad idea, and like I say, at the beginning for a while. Mm-hmm. But then the addiction kicked in. Mm-hmm. So
well, it's so much. It's the lifestyle is so much part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's fantastic that you had Jimmy and Bill to see other people that were sober. That is amazing to me. I know I've told you this before. You were the only sober person I'd ever met. I didn't know that was an option to be sober. And while I love you so much, Andy, I did not, was a 20-something-year-old stripping clown. I didn't find you to be relatable to me. So I was like, of course, Andy can be sober. I can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm quite jealous that you had that to look at and see, like that is a possibility.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping to do with the podcast, is to show other people that.
Good.
You said the day that you quit. I have found that many people have multiple rock bottoms on their way to the final thing.
Oh yeah.
Did you? Yeah. Like, did you have accidents or run-ins with cops?
I got arrested for drunk driving one time, and this involves a little bit of, I guess this qualifies as a drunken humble brag, or a humble drunken brag or something. But one time, and you would think any normal adult would have looked at and, okay, I can't continue to do this. Mm-hmm. One time, I got to open at Rockefeller's.
Oh, Rockefeller's is gorgeous.
Yeah. For Ray Charles.
Oh, my God.
Killed it. he was doing 2 shows between after the first show, and Jimmy was going to do the second. After the first show, his manager came up to me and said, Ray Charles loves your act. He wants to meet you, but it has to be after the second show. Mm-hmm. Ray Charles, first album I ever bought in my life was Ray Charles.
Really?
Yeah, Ray Charles. He's the genius.
Oh, my
He
God.
was Ray Charles, for God's sake. So I'm at Rockefeller's, and I tell myself, okay, I can go back to the workshop and drink cheaper. Than I can at Rockefeller's. I wasn't getting free drinks so I figured, okay, I'll take a cab back to the workshop. It wasn't that far from Rockefeller. I'll have a couple of drinks there, then I'll come back and I'll meet Ray Charles. Well, you know what happened or what didn't happen. Now, particularly if Ray Charles meant to you what he meant to me, but even if he didn't, he was still Ray Charles. If you didn't like his music, it's Ray Charles.
Did you black out, or did you just go get drunk and forget it?
I did. At some point, I just lost track.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and he wanted to meet you. This wasn't a case of me bugging the manager saying, hey, is it okay if I come back here?
Yeah.
No, he came out and found me at the bar and said, Ray Charles loves what you do. They cut this scene out of the movie. I'm sure.
Oh my God! Yeah, I would love for this to be one of Ray Charles, like one of his stories. He tells people, "I always wanted to meet this guy."
Yeah, he's so funny.
He just disappeared out
Drunken
of my life.
Asshole. Was looking for an opening act, and
oh my God!
Yeah. So who wouldn't quit after that? Who wouldn't be so embarrassed and humiliated?
Wow.
And then just bad behavior. I drove drunk a lot. Mm-hmm. And got in a wreck one time and was arrested. So,
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's a drunk thing. For a while I wondered if it was a Texas thing.
Yeah.
Because I would go and visit people up north and get totally shit-faced with them as well. And driving wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Like like you had to be super extreme and it was still looked down upon.
Yeah.
I feel like around here it's very, very common. There's you just choose who is the best drunk driver, which was usually me.
Yeah.
Who is the best drunk driver? They're the ones going to take everybody around. And it's like I know I was talking to this guy that was from somewhere in Europe. I don't remember where. And he said something about how he couldn't drive out to meet us at a party because he'd already had a beer. And we were like laughing, like, fucking pussy, you had one beer.
Yeah.
That's not a thing to him. He was like, why would I do that? I had a beer.
Yeah.
I drove blackout more times than I can remember. I thank God I didn't kill somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's possible, honestly.
Yeah, I don't either. And of course, you do it once, you think you can do it the second time. Mm-hmm. You go, well.
Yeah.
And every drunk driver will tell you people shouldn't drive drunk.
Oh, yeah.
But me.
I'm good at it, though.
I'm good at it. It's like people that drive and text. People shouldn't drive and text. But I can do that.
I still do that.
You
shouldn't do that.
Yeah. But yeah, every drunk will tell you, I'm the exception.
Yeah.
That asshole over there can't drive drunk. Never give him, take the keys away from him, give them to me.
Yeah, I know. I can remember driving and covering one eye because of the double vision.
Yeah.
And it's like if I just keep one eye covered, I can really see the road while I'm going. And this was just normal.
And this doesn't occur to any of us. That's literally insane. That's literally insane thinking. That's not just bad logic. It has nothing to do with logic. It is insane.
Yeah.
And yet, that's the addiction. That's the addiction. That's the and the drunkenness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not logic when you're in the moment.
That anybody, here's how we could simplify it even more. That anybody would ever experience a hangover, and then deliberately go out in court.
You're poisoned. That's what's crazy. Your body is responding to you poisoned yourself.
Yeah. If you ever had a first-rate hangover, you would think, okay, not only don't I know why I feel this way. I know exactly why I feel this way. There's no, we don't have 8 different suspects.
Maybe it was the sushi.
Maybe it was too hot out yesterday. I got over. No, And yet, if you ever have experienced a hangover, why would you? And yet we do.
Yeah.
And yet we do. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So I've been going to therapy.
Good.
It's very exciting to me. I'm months in. I don't know. Actually, it's been a while now. It's like 8 or 9 months. I love it. I love it so much. There's a lot I'm learning about myself. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm psycho about that one thing. It's the thing 20 years ago or whatever. It's fascinating to me. I think everybody should do it.
I think so. I think absolutely everybody should. Even if you function well.
Oh, absolutely.
In life,
you
it
think
doesn't
everything's
matter.
great.
Because nobody is completely free and clear.
Nobody's fixed.
Of bullshit.
Yeah.
There's some bullshit. And just out of an intellectual curiosity.
That's what it is. I think like I'm learning. It's not like in the room I'm suddenly like she fixes something, she doesn't shake something over me and I'm done. Like when I leave, I find that my brain just works differently when whatever emotion I have, rather than it just being, I'm not a slave to the emotion. I'm like, wait, I felt that way because of this thing and I'm responding because of this. And I can break down my responses and then make a decision about whether or not I want to feel that way. So it's pretty empowering. Do I want to be angry or not? Maybe I don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should go to therapy myself. Yeah, there are a couple of... There's one real nagging aspect of my life that turns up in dreams, for instance.
Oh, that's
constantly,
a sign.
Constantly.
That's a huge sign.
And so I would like to... And I've thought about it, and I've pinpointed a moment in my past. I thought, could that possibly have had that big of an effect on me? But yeah, I would like to know.
I'm still going to ask you. What's the thing?
I feel enormous amount of guilt for no reason at all. I have so many dreams where the dream starts with me feeling guilty, and I don't know where that comes from. Why? I mean, to the degree that it does. I mean, I've gotten a little better about it, but I could be sitting in a restaurant by myself reading a newspaper, and if two people who I've never met before, about 8 tables down, get in an argument, I'm going to figure out what did I do. I'm going to blame myself somehow. I just grab a hold of guilt for some reason, and
That's really
I'm not sure why. But I wouldn't mind, and I recognize that I'm out of line quite often, and so I've made some adjustments. I'm not a slave to it. It doesn't overwhelm me.
Yeah.
It boy sure makes dreams tiresome though.
Yeah. Oh, I would imagine. Because, the emotions are so much more intense in dreams.
Yeah, and it's always something. I don't. We'll relate this. This dream I have. I never have a dream where I'm drinking. I have dreams where I have been drinking. I'm the only one that knows about it. I feel guilty as hell about it. And it always starts with
it's the post. You don't even have the fun part of the dream.
Yeah. So I have that dream quite often. I don't know that I've ever had in 30 years, I'm not sure I've ever had a dream where I was drinking.
Wow.
That might not be true because I dream a lot. I dream about 2 or 3 dreams a night.
Me too.
And I wake up and I remember both of them, maybe sometimes all 3, until about 4 hours later. Then I can't remember.
Okay, question I like to ask people. Are your dreams in first or third person?
I can see me.
Okay, that's how mine are too.
Yeah, I can see me.
I thought everybody's were like that. It's about half and half.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Some people were like, what do you mean third person? No, it's my dream. I'm seeing it. I'm like, no, I'm watching it like a movie.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I don't know. And I bet there's probably have been a first person narrative to the dream before. But no, I can always. Now, here's a question. When somebody's in your dream that you know, do they look like themselves?
I rarely have dreams with people I know. Here's even further. I'm rarely in my own dreams. Yeah. They are more of like movies that I'm watching. Huh. And and when I am in them, I see myself. And sometimes there'll be stand-ins where I'm like, I was talking to Andy, but it wasn't Andy. It was so-and-so or whatever. But often I'm not even in my own dreams.
I'm in every dream, and I know everybody in my dreams. Every once in a while, a a stranger will appear. But people will, I mean, I'll be like a sister. I know what my sister looks like, and I know that sister Caroline doesn't look anything like Caroline.
Does it look like a stranger, or does it Caroline, but it looks like Aunt so-and-so?
No, it looks like a stranger.
Wow.
And I've always been fascinated why that would be. Because it's people. It's
like, how's your brain putting together other people?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but I wouldn't mind. There might be an interesting answer to that.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
sure
know
there is.
Yeah. But,
So it's funny you said that. Use that dream as an example. The guilt of drinking dream, because that's what I was thinking as you were saying that, you know, this is the thing that you'd like to go through and figure out where it comes from. What you said earlier is that part of the quitting was the having to wake up, make the phone calls, find out what did I do. So you have the feelings of, I'm not a licensed therapist. I want to put a little disclaimer. You have the feelings of guilt, but you don't have the answers for the things that happened. So they're just forever weighing on you, just this feeling of, surely I did something.
Yeah.
And you can't process what the thing is, so you never get rid of it.
Yeah. I absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I was never, and thankfully for this, I always took responsibility in my own mind about how I behaved. I didn't try and, you know.
Oh, what's that like?
Yeah.
I would love
No,
to.
I didn't. I wasn't. This about like drunks in clubs that really pissed me off, because I know some of those people are going to get up the next morning, and it's not going to be their fault.
Oh, no.
They're going to blame the comic or the club or the bouncer who.
Or even if they know it, it was like, but I was drunk. It doesn't count.
Yeah. I was never that. I'd wake up and I'd be ashamed. Yeah, I've spent a lot of mornings ashamed. In fact, Lord, I don't like this, but what are you going to do? Every once in a while, a memory of something will pop in my head, and I'll be ashamed. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have said that.
When that happens, do you say it out loud? Because sometimes
I will curse myself. Or I'll go, damn, I'll do it.
I do that too. I'm just like walking, memory pops up, and I go, no!
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
I have that same feeling when I think about my first sets on stage, actually at the joke joint.
Yeah.
You know, just out of nowhere, walking, remember what it was like being up there, and I'm like, no.
I'll have sets that were so bad. One time, I was still drinking. We're in Nebraska someplace, maybe. Second show Friday, I went on stage drunk, woke up the next morning, no memory
Of the entire on stage.
Yeah, and I thought, oh my God, it had to be horrible. It had to be horrible. And I spent the whole day, we were staying in the condo, waiting for the phone to ring to fire me. How can you not?
Yeah.
Never rang. So, okay, they're going to do it at the club.
In person, yeah.
Yeah, got down there. They didn't. Nobody said anything. The other two comics never said anything. To this day, Kiki, I don't know what the hell happened on stage. It couldn't have been good.
I mean, it couldn't have been that bad, though.
I guess not.
You would have heard it.
Yeah, you would think. But that memory will pop into my... and I just hate it. I have memories of bad shows that have nothing to do with being drunk, just bad shows.
Yeah.
That'll pop into my head, and I'll curse.
So my second time on the Outlaw Dave show, I was so nervous because, oh my God, radio. And, now I'm like, whatever. So I do it. I was so nervous. I remember I drank while I was getting ready. I took a beer with me in the car, so that way when I got there, parked in the parking lot, could chug the beer before I went on, so I'd be good to go. No, this was the first time. Yeah, because I chugged the beer. Didn't know when I got there to the studio, they were going to put me in a green room. And this was when the show was 7 to 9, so it was like the party show. Put me in the green room. Hey, you want a shot while you wait?
Yeah.
So they give me a beer. They're giving me shots. So by the time I started the show, I was already, 9 in or something like that.
Yikes.
I remembered being introduced, and then it's blackout.
Yeah.
The entire show is blackout. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I did. I remember leaving, driving myself home, of course, pulling over. I got lost in some neighborhood out by the Galleria, pulled my car over, peed in a stranger's yard because I thought it was safer than trying to go into a gas station where something might happen to me.
Yeah.
Peed in a stranger's yard, made my way back home. And then I got the email the next day of, oh, here's your interview if you want, because they had the MP3s.
Yeah.
I had to listen to that thing, and it was so bad. I am slurring. I'm stumbling around. I'm not making sense at all.
Yeah.
No, it's complete nonsense. And I was listening to it, just hating every bit of it.
Yeah.
And it's video now. It's the recordings, the radio recordings. I am so thankful that exists, unfortunately. But a lot of video, like people weren't as camera happy as they are now.
Yeah.
When I was in my blackout phase time, I would hate now with everybody recording everything
Lord.
to have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
Dear God, no.
Oh, yeah. So thankful that the internet didn't exist. I have a joke about back when I was drinking, there was no area code. Those extra 3 numbers would have fucked me up pretty good. Yeah. No caller ID. That was the other thing when I was drinking. And I'm half convinced it was a drunk's wife that came up with the idea of caller ID. A drunk's girlfriend or a drunk's husband, a boyfriend. Just, oh my God, I got to know. What a great step forward in technology, though, if you're involved with a drunk. Caller ID. That's just the greatest thing in the world for...
So we keep talking about signs. Will you think this would be a sign to quit? There was a good while where my password, before they had the fingerprints, where you had to type in a phrase or something. My password for my phone was, "Are you drunk?"
Yeah.
Because every morning I would wake up and look at texts that I had sent it to boys or Facebooking a picture or something, and wake up the next day just mortified.
Yeah.
And so instead of quitting the drinking, I tried to quit the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. When I quit, my attitude wasn't, I didn't set up a battle. It wasn't like, I want to keep drinking, but I know I can't, so I'm going to do these things to keep me from drinking. My attitude when I quit was, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do it anymore. The battle lines weren't drawn. I did not want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
So I was kind of lucky that way. And that I think some people, that's got to be it's like trying to quit cigarettes when you really want to, trying to quit anything when you really don't want to. Because it's like every waking moment, it's the
You're
battle.
thinking about it,
Yeah, it's a battle. And you can't do that, I don't think. Every waking moment, at exhaustion, you just give in. So I was lucky that way. So between AA, which was very reassuring, and just to be around
Other people.
Yeah, and along with your audiences, AA audiences are the best, the absolute best. And they're just very understanding, accepting, not at all judgmental. They don't look at you sideways like you're a big fuck up, because we're all big fuck up. So nobody's a fuck up. But yeah, it was quite revealing. You know, I'm going there with Bill and downtown Houston at noon, and a lot of businessmen there.
Oh, yeah.
And you get up and you hear, Bill and I he was in his, he was in his late 20s, I was in my late 30s, and we're listening to 50, 60-year-old men, bankers, talk about the exact same. Hey, we're artists. We're unique. Oh, man. Maybe not. Maybe we're not so much. I remember our buddy Steve Epstein, when he heard that we were going to meetings together, he said, "Y'all must be the real stars of the meeting with the stories you have." Not even close, Steve. Not even close. I mean, what you got drunk and you said something rude to a waitress or something, or you woke up on a strange. No, we got people losing homes and families and waking up in bed with 3/4 of the California Angel infield. It's just the spectacular stories.
Yeah.
So, but that was, you kind of make a connection with humanity when you see that we're all. The bankers, you're no better than the banker. The bankers no better than you.
Yeah.
We're all at that same
we're all
unhappy, but struggling level.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be unhappy. Nobody wants to make other people unhappy, and that's the struggle.
Yeah. So I didn't go to AA. actually just started maybe 10 months ago or something, and I'm almost 3 years in. So I didn't go to AA at first. I was one of those people. I don't need meetings. I don't want to hear about God and all that different stuff that I think a lot of people have, especially when they're first thinking about not drinking. They don't. There's a lot of assumptions about what AA is.
Yeah.
I think, and I have, since starting this podcast and recording with more people, I know I've learned about a lot of different programs, which I'm very excited to share with people if they're not interested in AA. But I will say, I love the meetings now. And I feel like, if I'm talking to other people that don't necessarily understand or relate, that it sounds so cheesy to say I love AA. But I do. And I think what you're talking about, the connection to humanity, is what it is. I think I got this problem being told what to do. I'm very, very bad at that, and I will rebel by doing the complete opposite, which has gotten me in a lot of trouble. But I'm working on it. Therapy. So that was my thinking, was that it was going to be a bunch of rules trying to tell me how to live my life. When I got there, I realized that I loved it because it was just a bunch of people telling their stories. And that's what I love about storytelling. Even when I'm not doing it, I like going to the storytelling shows because I like hearing what other people are going through, what they've gone through, what they've learned. I like having that connection with somebody else, and to go there and to hear, however many, 2 people or 20 people that all can say, yes, I went through this. This is my hard time. This is my good time. This is how I overcame it. I am so inspired leaving that place. And even if people are still in the middle of the bullshit, I like to be able to talk to those people and be like, no. I get it. This is step 1 of you're going to be so wonderful after this. I love it.
I loved listening to women's stories because I think growing up, I was born in 1950. Women behaved in society that certain, they had to behave a certain way.
Absolutely,
They couldn't be outgoing like men. Women didn't get drunk in public.
Oh, I did not think about that.
But no, it just wasn't done. They did, and of course, a lot of spectacular exceptions to the rule. But boy, you want to become a leper real quickly. Be a woman in 1961 who gets drunk in public and is loud. Holy mackerel!
Not ever thought of that.
But so there's a lot of secret drinking and a lot of This is a great way society has progressed, the human race has progressed. We're not locked into so many stereotypes anymore. Men got to behave this way. Women have to behave this way. So women have to behave this way, so they can't. You're not always aware of the shit they're going through. And this is, and I'm speaking in the past tense. This when I first started, and so it's just always fascinating to me to listen to women talk about being an alcoholic, because they weren't allowed to be an alcoholic like a lot of men are allowed to be alcoholic. They had to drink secretly.
Well, then you can only get help secretly that way.
Yeah, if you got it at all. Wow. Yeah. So I was always, and plus, as an alcoholic and hanging out with other drunks, I kind of knew, even if we didn't talk about it in those terms, I kind of knew what guys were going through and this, that, and the other, and I didn't have that same sort of intimate knowledge of what women who were alcoholics were going through. And I think it was, here's something, being a heavy drinker, drinking for pleasure, and this has changed for the worse in a lot of ways, but that's just not something women did. You weren't a heavy drinker like guys were heavy drinkers. You had to do it on the sly. So it's interesting for me to listen to women of a certain generation talk about their problems, because it was hidden.
That's I not thought about that.
Yeah.
That is so interesting to me. I love at the meetings meeting older women that have gone through it.
Yeah.
Because I just connect, where I'm like, oh, okay, and I love the ones that I've met so far will walk in and they just don't give a fuck about anything. And that probably makes sense. If they went through that time, those problems, they're so free.
Yeah.
The happiest, just love everybody, just bust in, ready to help everybody around them.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I guess we could go whine to our bartender about this problem, that problem, this is why I drink, this. I don't know that women for a while had that option. You couldn't just sit at a bar and
Yeah, it was just at
and talk
home.
about your problems, and this is why I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Now it has changed, and I think maybe it's. I remember at Sherlock's, and I hadn't been doing comedy for a while, and I went back to Sherlock's to get back into it, start doing, and it was before the show, and I'm kind of taking everything in with the servers and the comics waiting to go on, and audience, and I said, when did women get loud? When did this happen? And it has changed. Women now, I think, feel free.
Oh my God, they are the loudest.
Yeah. Oh, they feel freer to
Yes.
drink heavy in public.
Oh yes,
And
the Woo Girls
yeah.
at comedy club.
Oh God. Oh yeah. Oh God. Oh God. I hate that sound.
Oh my God.
More than anything else. But and I did a little bit of research. Not great, but I went on the internet and drinking women from, say 17 to 37 has increased among that.
Oh, I'm sure.
It has. I remember one quote I read from a doctor saying, women drink like men now.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not a good thing.
Yeah, and as you're saying this, I'm wondering how much of it has to do with like on a subconscious level, the idea of equality.
Yeah.
It's like they got to do this, so I'm going to do this. And like I told you, I was going shot for shot with the men around me because fuck it, I'm here too.
Yeah.
I'm a comedian too. I'm a performer too. And my body could not process it the same way. But there was that just need to show like, no, I am big enough. So, and I imagine that has part to do with it. I also would think with that age range that you're saying, I was reading something about the mommy wine culture, that it's just very joked about. It's just very accepted that being a mother in today's age is very difficult because you're expected to be a mom and have a full-time job and do all the Pinterest stuff, be the best PTA, all these things.
And a wife.
And take care of everything. And so there's this idea of like, well, I need my bottle of wine. So we get around and the women can gather, they can drink their wine, they can bitch about how hard life is.
Yeah.
And so that it's creating this like culture of alcoholic mothers because they're allowed this.
Yeah.
I deserve this after everything. I deserve my bottle of wine a day.
Yeah.
And that it's an interesting, it's causing a lot of problems, but you can't say, well, no.
Yeah.
Because fuck you, don't tell me no.
Yeah. When I first started, went out to Los Angeles to do stand-up at the Comedy Store, all kinds of female comics around, which I'd never been around any comics before, actually. But there were female comics around, female servers, female audience members, girlfriends, wives. And I don't remember, and this is like, I don't remember loud female drunks. I don't remember female drunks. They didn't drink like the comics did, the guy comics did. I'm guessing a couple of them went home and did a little bit of drinking. But it's changed.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I never thought about that.
Those are great movies when women in the 50s trying to, the role they played. And it's y'all had it difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Women had it difficult since forever.
I just watched a documentary on Mae West, who is just so incredible. And it was, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was something where like this studio that was courting her really, really wanted her. She was already a big deal by then. She'd done all of her cabaret shows and she'd written several movies under a different name, a man's name, so she could sell the scripts.
Yeah.
Because under her name, they wouldn't even talk to her.
Yeah.
So they were courting her in the studio. Maybe Paramount. I don't remember who it was. They were failing.
She made films for Paramount.
Okay, so maybe it was them. They were like kind of like in the middle of falling apart, so they were courting her, and she asked who is the highest paid employee there, and they were like, well, the president, he makes, we'll say $50,000 a year. I don't remember the number.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, I'll come if I can get $50,00001.
Yeah.
And they signed her on for it.
Yeah.
But she drank.
Yeah.
she was trying to be one of the boys though. She was trying to sit at the table and say no. She was going to do it.
Yeah.
And that was part of being at the table.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned Comedy Store. I have to ask you because last time I went there, I liked to see your name up there and brag. I'm like, that's Andy.
Yeah.
How did they put, like, whose names do they put? I mean, I know you are obviously like legend, but I'm like, but how was the process? They're like, hey, they want to put your name up here. Do you just walk up there and it's there one day?
I just went up there one day and there it was. No, I don't know how. I don't know if it was totally Mitzi's whim. I don't know if they did it on. I never took note as to when new names went up. I don't know if they were doing it once a month, once a year. My guess
You
is
just showed up and your name was there?
yeah, there it was. Yeah, they didn't ask me, and I don't know why you would necessarily ask. Who wouldn't want their name up there? But yeah, I had no idea.
I thought maybe there was a process to it.
ceremony.
Or at least like a, hey, congratulations.
Nope, nobody. My guess is I just went up and saw it myself. Nobody called me up and say, hey, check the.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it's nice. Whenever one of the Houston folks get out to the Comedy Store, they always...
Yeah, they always take a picture.
Yeah. It's like a pilgrimage. And
yeah.
I hesitate. I never tell them. I probably shouldn't say it now. Not that big a deal.
I mean, but it is.
Well, it is, and
it's not to you, but it is to it. It is to, like you said, the Houston comics that go up there. Because of course, when you go to LA, you're like, this is it. This is where it happens, kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And so to see somebody up there, it's like, okay, I can do that. I know someone. It's I don't know. You make it real.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. It. Yeah. Good. I didn't. They didn't tell me. They didn't. I'm guessing, again, it was just on Mitzi's whim from one of her assistants. Hey, it's time we put some more names up there. Who do you like?
Yeah. Well,
boom, boom, boom.
Well, she liked you.
Or you know what? It could have been just one of the assistants that they didn't even bother Mitzi with it. Who knows?
I'm going to say that they chose names out of a hat filled with only the most talented, wonderful people in there, and your name popped up.
Well, we'll go with that. I'll go with that. That's nice.
So, okay, I know we can't talk about some of the America's Got Talent stuff. Other stuff. Where can people find you? Where can they see? Do you have anything coming up? I know your album's online. They can buy that.
Yeah, it's called Inspired by True Events. It's on CD Baby and iTunes. I'm on Facebook. Andy Huggins Facebook. Andy Huggins comedian is my Twitter.
Okay. Oh yeah, I saw you were live tweeting during the America's Got Talent.
Yeah, then I got bored with it.
Well, it was funny while it lasted.
Yeah, it was, they asked me the show asked me to live tweet because otherwise I wouldn't have live tweeted.
I just thought you were excited.
I was excited, but I mean, what do you live tweet? I didn't know what to. Tweet. What's this bullshit? When am I coming on? I don't care about some fucking guy on a motorcycle. Where's me?
God.
It's all about me.
You should have tweeted that. That would have been great.
Yeah, actually, a couple of things would have been kind of funny, but it might have pissed the show off if I'd done it. But there are a couple of,
Well,
I probably wasn't enamored of everything I saw that night, but it probably would have been bad form to criticize the show. So.
Well, I hope that you go back. I know that I saw a couple of comments about somebody tweeted, and I don't think this is somebody that maybe knew you. I think this is just random stuff because I was just following everything going on that night. And somebody tweeted, Andy Huggins is a perfect example of why you should never give up on your dreams. And I thought that was so lovely. And she tagged America's Got Talent, so hopefully that'll get them wanting you back.
Did you see, I don't know how, there was one thread where a lady, and she got backup from a couple other ladies, was horrified at my jokes. I ruined, I ruined Family Hour. I thought this was supposed to be a because I did the one joke that involves the word orgasm. Now, what's funny about that is the show asked for that. The show asked for 3 jokes in particular.
Oh, they saw your set and then they pulled out.
Yeah. We had one group of jokes picked out, and then they decided, no, we wanted the more sexually oriented jokes.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ones they wanted me to do. And I specifically asked them, I said, okay, y'all told me this is a Family Hour. Can I say that? And they said, yeah, say it. And if it's a problem, we'll bleep it.
Not like jizz or something.
They ought to be lucky I didn't act it out. I'm not one of those comics that act out the punchline. So be grateful. So one lady, and like I said, almost everybody piled on her and said, oh, come on, But one lady thought, this is. I had to fast forward because my son was in the room.
Oh my God!
So there was that. But between that,
did not see that.
and people just blasting Mel B, and then every once in a while there was a compliment for me. But mostly it was blasting Mel B.
You're so controversial, Andy.
Yeah, I know. I'm the last person in the world you would have expected to wreck Family Hour.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Okay, so we're at our final question. We're doing our final ask. New podcast, still working it out. We'll see how this goes.
Okay.
Okay, final question is, if you could snap your fingers and everyone around the world would instantly believe two things, what would they be and why? But there is like one little caveat. One has to be for the good of humanity, and one has to be completely self-serving.
I believe in the golden rule. Mm-hmm. If I could snap my fingers and have everybody believe and accept the golden rule. Mm-hmm. Of course, you do that, and you probably eliminate a lot of human behavior that makes for great comedy. I might be snapping and putting myself out of work. I'm
gonna sound dumb. Is this the treat others one?
Yeah.
Make sure.
Treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself. Okay. I'm told, I'm not a student of religions, but I'm told every religion has the golden rule in there.
Really?
Someplace. Treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself. Mm-hmm. One form or another. That's
I can see that.
So boom.
It's so basic.
Just do that. Just more kindness in the world. That'd be good.
Yeah, we definitely could use that right now.
Yeah, and for myself, I wouldn't object to that rich widow woman. I mean, quite selfishly. You know how much easier and more serene? Of course, then again, I might be eliminating, some of the comedy. But, man, I hate to be selfish, but just a couple more bucks a month.
Andy, you are preaching to the choir right now.
I am so low maintenance, and, I don't need to be filthy rich, but and to be and the premise was to be entirely selfish. If I could, if I could take, and I'll take my chances with, my neighbors and my club owners and whoever the family. I'll take my chances with everybody else. If I could just take some financial pressure, wouldn't take a lot.
Yeah,
Karma, if you're listening.
Come on, Karma.
Yeah, you don't need to break the bank in order to take care of me.
It's
just
the
a little
stress,
bit,
especially as an artist.
Yeah,
the stress of the daily, like how you're going to pay to survive.
Yeah.
Anytime you're thinking about that, you're not writing.
Yeah.
You're not being creative.
Yeah.
You're not producing more. And the more you produce, I do think the better the world is off.
Oh.
Like you're making more things for people to connect to. You're bringing more happiness to the world. You're doing so much more. So while I understand,
it's a good trade-off.
Yeah, I understand that it's not like selfish, but I truly do believe that when people like you are successful, it is good for humanity.
Well, I can't tell every and I know I always get the bills covered, but see, you got some email and you click on and there's a notification from AT&T. Hey, just letting you know this month ready to be viewed.
And you're like, damn it.
See, here's my theory. Utility companies, for like Reliant, for instance, they ought to be like a good bartender. Like a good bartender, you buy 3 drinks, they'll slip you a 4th.
Yeah.
I feel like Reliant, you pay your bill 3 months in a row, faithfully. Slip me the 4th one. 4th one on the house. Come on. That's how I view it. I don't think that's an idea that's going to.
But if you could snap your fingers, we'd make it happen.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for Andy. This is an absolute pleasure.
Always, Kiki. Always, under any circumstances. Always.
I hope that we can have you back soon.
Absolutely.
I say we. I'm used to having a group podcast. I hope I can have you back soon.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
And when tomorrow comes around, I may be 6 feet underground, but I'll still have one.
That was Andy Huggins. You heard him. Golden rule. Don't be an asshole. Stop it. I might be talking to myself right now. I don't know. He's got a comedy album out, so just search for Andy Huggins on iTunes or CD Baby. It's called Inspired by True Events, and it is so, so funny. You can also find him on Twitter at Huggins Comedy. And hey, if you're on Twitter, follow me at KiKi Maroon. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at KiKi Maroon, so you can follow me there. Website is kikimaroon.com. If you want just the podcast information, that's at clowninterrupted.com. Please don't forget to subscribe and rate it on iTunes. I have so many episodes coming up with more comedians, burlesquers, writers, dancers, producers, all kinds of stuff, and each one is so completely different. Everybody has such a uniquely, terribly perfect story. I can't explain how much I love getting to sit down with these people, talk to them about these things. This is amazing. I love you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next week.
Now it's the last call for heaven's train. If only you weren't too late.
Yeah, we got it.